Alrighty, so the other day, my new scope came in for my 6.5 PRC. The ones who watched the video know I had an Ares BTR Gen 1 that the reticle got canted on, so we sent that back to Athlon. I chatted with them. They didn't have any more of that exact scope, and they wouldn't till like December. So they offered me a couple different options. I chose the Midas Tac. This is a 5 to 25 by 56 optic. Now this has a 34mm tube, so they threw in a set of rings as well. And it seemed like the guy was pretty knowledgeable about getting the right height for my Bergara. Got my old scope sent in. They sent me a new one. It took a little bit longer than I'd hoped because when I sent mine USPS, it took like 3 or 4 extra days to get there. I was kind of concerned it was getting lost in the mail. But once Athlon had my optic, I had the new one in hand within, I think, 8 days. So overall, good experience with that. Now, I have a Midas Tac 6 to 24 optic on my 6.5 Creedmoor. I really like that optic. They also let me pick the reticle, so I picked the reticle that I like the most. I think it's PRS3. It's got the little floating dot. That's one thing that I really enjoy with shooting groups on paper. Today we're going to go ahead and sight in the optic. We're using the Sierra Match King 142 grainer with IMR 7977 55 grains. We shot 3-shot groups a couple weeks back right before the scope went to pot, and it shot pretty good. So that's what we're going to use today to try to sight in the gun. So let's take a closer look at the optic here. Alright, so taking a look at the optic here, this does not have any illumination. That was one thing that I guess is kind of a downgrade going from the Ares to the Midas Tac, but they told me it had the same glass, and this one with the bigger tube has a little bit more elevation travel, so I thought it'd be worth it. Also has that reticle that I'd like. So the turrets are nice and audible. Everybody wants to see that, right? I think they're nice turrets. I never use the windage turret, but it's also got a nice click to it. It's a little bit hard to read because it is a capped windage turret. It's a little bit hard to see the notches, but if you count them, you can count them just fine. Again, this is in a set of Athlon rings that they sent me. I also have a cheap bubble level. I use the bubble level all the time, so had to pick up one of those since I don't have a 34mm tube. Also, if you notice, I only have a lens cover on the back lens, and that's because I don't have any that are big enough to fit the objective lens, because this has that 56mm objective. So we've got one of those on order as well. But let's get out on the range. Let's try to zero this thing, and let's see how it shoots. Alrighty, we are out here on the range. This is my 24-inch Bergara B14 HMR, chambered in 6.5 PRC. It's got a new Athlon Midas Tac 5 to 25 to 56 optic on it, and that's kind of the goal of today's video. We're going to go ahead and get this scope sighted in and just get a general idea of how it's working. We're not going to do a tracking test or anything like that, but hopefully we can hit the paper with the first shot and then kind of dial it in from there. And maybe get a group going there. So I've loaded up 6 142 grain Sierra Match Kings with 55 grains of IMR 7977. And so if we can get her sighted in pretty quick here, we will shoot a group. Gun is cold. Gun is also clean. I just cleaned it when I had the optic off. Alright, so the gun is cold. It is a cool day. A little bit windy. It is about, I don't know, 45 degrees out. So nice cold day, but again, it is a little bit windy. So let's go ahead here and see if we can hit the paper. I was a little brave, went ahead and had my phone down there for video camera. So hopefully we don't, hopefully we're close enough to where we don't hit that. Alright, so I bore sighted it, so we'll see where this first one hits. Alright, so close enough with the bore sight there. We just took a little left. So let's see if we can go ahead and dial that in. Alright, so on the reticle, it looks like we are 1.8 to the left. Almost exactly 1.8. So we'll just go to the right, 1.8. Alright, so we're at 0. So there's 1. I believe that's 1.8. Our elevation looks good enough, so I did a good job with our elevation on our bore sight. So let's go ahead and see if these will group, and see if my adjustment's correct. Alright, so we're just a little bit low there on that one, but pretty decent. Let's go ahead and let's just shoot a 5-shot group here, and then we'll move accordingly. so overall looks like a pretty decent group there. It does look like we had either a cold bore or a dirty impact shift. That first one we shot where we'd moved the scope, we shot just a little bit low and to the right, but then it looks like it pretty well grouped in there. So those 6 averaged 2784 with an 11.2 SD. So not bad numbers. I know it's pretty slow for 6.5 PRC, but this was kind of some of our better loads as far as group size when we shot 3-shot groups in the past. So we'll probably go ahead and zero the scope. We will come up a 0.3, and I think we'll got overshot it just a little bit there, and I think we'll go to the left 0.2. So, all right, and that'll be close enough for future videos. Let's get over to the target and we'll measure out that last group. I will look at the velocity of the 6 of those. I did have my labradar right here gathering velocity. All right, let's get over there and let's check it out. Alrighty, so we are back on the bench here and things worked out pretty well. We hit the paper with our first shot, just about 2 mils to the left, so we dialed over to the right, then we went ahead and shot a 5-shot group. Now, that 5-shot group, I think that first shot is the one that dropped a little low and to the left, so maybe that's still because the barrel was warming up or because the barrel was just clean and this is only the second shot. Maybe things are settling in with the way the scope's mounted. I don't know, but it looked like the other 4 kind of grouped right in there. The 5-shot group measured just under an inch at 0.99, and the best 4 out of that group were right around a 0.5-inch group. So good results overall. Now velocity was 2796 feet per second with an 11.2 SD. Nice low velocity. Like I said on the range, we weren't really trying to shoot for anything as far as velocity goes. Just a nice good low to sight the gun in. So it looks like we've accomplished that. Now in the next video we're going to move on to the 140 grain eld match from Hornady with the 6.5 PRC. So thank you guys for subscribing. If you're interested, check out my Patreon. It's linked in the description below. And we'll see you next time.